If you're managing a construction project, here is the reality. 70% of projects fail, and they fail right out of the gate. There's actually a world-class book called How Big Things Get Done, and it was published in, I think, 2024 by Bent Flyberg. And it was the biggest body of research of project delivery and project management. And what they found was projects don't go wrong, they start wrong. So that's what this video is about. I've personally seen $50 million hospital projects get derailed in week 3 because the PM skipped one critical step. Okay. I've watched even experienced project managers who've been doing this for years get fired because they followed a standard approach that everyone teaches. So I'm going to break it down real simply and tell you that there actually is a systematic way that you can approach projects to deliver them on time and on budget confidently. A framework that I've used to teach dozens and dozens of project managers, and that I personally used on executing $500 million of projects. So who am I? Well, my name's Kyle Nitchin. Since 2012, I've managed over $500 million of complex healthcare projects. I've led teams through some of the most challenging builds you can imagine. Active hospital renovations where we're around patient safety and literally lives are being worked on or being saved right next to where we're building. I've seen what works. I've seen what doesn't work. And more importantly, I've seen the patterns that predict project success or failure within the first month. The system that I'm about to share with you has helped dozens of project managers break through their career ceiling, earn promotions, and secure raises of $35K and upwards to $75K in 12 months or less. Here's what the data tells us. According to the Construction Industry Institute, projects that fail do so for 3 primary reasons. Okay, let's start with number 1, and they all happen right out of the gate. They're all within your control right out of the gate. Number 1, they have a surface level project understanding, aka they literally skip understanding the project, studying it and understanding all the requirements, the details, and what all these things mean. So most project managers think that skimming through the drawings, the specifications, the contract is enough. And let me be real, it's not. This leads to missed critical details, confused teams, and project delays that compound through the entire build. They only get worse. I used to make this mistake myself. I truly have. I'd glance at the documents. I'd think I'd understand the scope of work. I'd send them out to my trade partners. And the result was I'd get constant surprises. I'd get caught off guard. I'd get frustrated stakeholders. I'd get a design team that was frustrated at me. And then my reputation was being reactive instead of being proactive for not understanding. Okay. Mistake number 2, generic team assembly. Okay. The industry teaches hire fast, fire fast. This is backwards. And I know we already do have a talent shortage and a labor shortage and just a people shortage in general, which can make this challenging, but rushing to fill positions without understanding role requirements and cultural fit within a team and within an organization is a dysfunction that really destroys project momentum. So you end up with teams that can't communicate effectively, they don't trust each other, and they require constant micromanagement from upper leadership. Okay. Mistake number 3, unclear accountability structure, roles, and responsibilities. This one's crystal clear for me. When roles and responsibilities aren't clear from day one, you get this is not my job anymore. Or you get this is not my job syndrome. Critical tasks fall through the cracks. Blame becomes the default response. Project momentum dies. And I've literally seen this on a $20 million project fail because nobody took ownership of basic coordination or a basic area of the project. So the cost of these mistakes are huge. The risk you take on for these mistakes are huge. You can go way over budget, way over schedule. But here's what's really tragic. Every single one of these failures was preventable with the right system, with the right approach. And after analyzing literally hundreds of successful projects and dozens of my own, I've discovered that the best project managers follow a specific sequence I call the anti-fragile project launch system. Okay. They launch their project in a way that sets them up for success, knowing that chaos is going to come down the line. And so with this system in place, the chaos actually doesn't make them weaker or put them in a worse position. It actually makes them stronger. That's what anti-fragility is. And I'm a big fan of that concept, especially in construction, because it's a VUCA environment. Change is constant and chaos is the norm. Okay, so I'm going to go over, this isn't about being perfect. It's about building projects that get stronger under pressure instead of breaking down when challenges hit. So the 6 critical steps. Number 1, deep project intelligence. This is understanding the project at a level that gives you confidence and credibility. Okay, this means taking the time up front to go deeply into the contract, slowly and deeply into the contract documents. This means the plans, the elevations, the details, the specifications. Here's a quick note, the Division 1 specifications, okay? That tells you the playbook of a lot of things you need to know on how to behave on the project to keep everyone safe and compliant. And same with the owner prime contract. It's the same thing. Number 2, strategic team building, okay? Building teams with complementary skills and cultural alignment. Number 3, crystal clear accountability. Crystal clear. Defining roles so precisely that confusion becomes impossible. Number 4, high impact communication systems. So creating information flow, horizontal communication across the project in opposed to vertical. Vertical is too slow and silos ourselves. Horizontal is the best. That prevents, this type of communication prevents problems from happening instead of just reporting them. Okay, number 5, continuous risk management. Managing threats weekly before they become crises. Number 6, tracking your performance with KPIs. Okay. Tracking metrics, leading indicators across all domains and areas of your project, setting those up at the forefront that actually predict success. When implemented correctly, this system delivers 95% schedule adherence in the first 90 days, budget variance under 2% by project completion, 0 safety incidents during critical startup phases, and client satisfaction scores above 95%. This is just what I've seen. I recently used this framework to rescue a project, an emergency department project, that was 3 weeks behind and way over budget. 6 weeks later, we were back on track, the client was happy, and we finished on time. This works. Okay. Now let's go into the detailed breakdown. Okay. We'll go back to each one. Step 1, deep project intelligence, not skipping truly understanding the project. So this goes far beyond reading drawings. What I do is I systematically review the drawings for constructability issues, coordination gaps. I'm bringing my trades in to have these conversations early as possible to flush out any problems, and getting the way that they're the closest to the work. They understand the installation and all the conditions better than I do. So I want to bring them in and I want to leverage their intelligence so I can bake it into my plan. That is what we want to do as soon as we can. Number 2, the prime agreement, that contract. I'm going to take my time and go through that and understand and break it down in simple terms. The other key document is the Division 1 specifications for all the execution requirements. You'd be surprised of how much stuff is in the Division 1 specs that needs to be known and needs to be communicated to the project team, entire team. And number 3, the conditions of satisfaction. So this is div 1. This is what the conditions of satisfaction is something you define with the owner. It's a very important exercise to do at the front of a job. And it helps you define what success really means in the eyes of the client. And what I'll do is I'll distill all this down into key points, simple enough that a third grader could understand them. Why? Because if your team doesn't understand the project at this level, then they can't execute effectively. So you as the leader need to step up and do that for them so that the whole can succeed. Okay. Number 2, strategic team building. I want you to remember this. Who, not how. The right team with the average systems will outperform the wrong team with the perfect systems every single time. I will die on that hill. I focus on 3 criteria: complementary skills, balancing technical skills with leadership capability, cultural alignment, the values that match the project requirements and the client's expectations, and number 3, growth trajectory. People who get better under pressure, not worse. So this takes time up front, but it will eliminate months of team dysfunctions later. Number 3, crystal clear accountability. Every step of the project must have someone specifically accountable for it. Every step, every area, every department must have someone accountable. Not the team or we'll figure it out, actual names attached to the specific outcomes. I use a responsibility matrix personally. I would set that up as a recommendation. It defines who owns each deliverable, who owns each area, who provides input and support, who makes the final decisions, who gets notified of status changes. So if you get this right, you'll eliminate 80% of the conflicts before they even start. Everyone will have, and you'll have a well-oiled machine where everyone understands their role and everyone's rowing in the same direction. It's a beautiful thing. Number 4, maintaining great communication. Most project communications, honestly, it's reactive. Reporting problems after they happen. Elite project managers, the best ones, create communication systems that prevent problems. So my 4 core planning pulses, as I call them, little pulses that happen either weekly, monthly, daily, is number 1, the weekly strategic planning meeting. This is a meeting with your team where you're going over master schedule updates, critical path analysis, and procurement coordination. So you can keep everything on track and the lights green on the project schedule. Number 2 is a trade partner weekly tactical meeting. That's a commitment-based work planning meeting with all subcontractors. What you're doing is looking ahead the next 6 weeks. You're looking at what can be done, kind of following the last planner system. And you're also talking about what will be done this week, creating a weekly work plan that everyone commits to and makes promises to commit. You're talking about handoffs, you're talking about sequencing, you're talking about resources, location, area, zones. That's what that is. Number 3, daily morning huddle. That's every single morning getting together, doing a quick stand up, talking about safety focus. You're doing some team bonding with some stretch and flex, and you're doing some coordinating of the actual work that's happening that day per your weekly work plan. And the last one is number 4, the daily afternoon huddle. That's next day planning and verifying the last planner. Okay. So those 4 are incredibly successful rhythms to create a predictable and reliable workflow that catches issues 2 to 3 weeks before they even impact the schedule. Do that, it'll change everything. You set that up and maintain it, it'll change the game. Okay, number 5, continuous risk management. Most project managers identify risks at the beginning. They'll create a little risk register and then forget about them. They'll shove that thing in a file somewhere and that'll be it. But I don't do that. I don't believe in that. I believe in using the OODA cycle, OODA cycle, weekly cycle. This was a military framework that was borrowed. It stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. So observe is collecting current project data. Orient is analyzing what that data means. Deciding is choosing the best course of action, and acting is taking swift action and repeating that. So doing that over and over, revisiting that risk register week after week. I set a weekly meeting and do that with my team, where we're constantly looking at the latest, greatest, defining what this all means, and then taking the next steps, and then revisiting it and repeating that cycle of all those unknowns and things that have probability to them on your project that you need to either manage, mitigate, transfer, or absorb yourself. Okay. Number 6, the final step in the system, is tracking your KPIs, is tracking your performance with KPIs. Okay, let me tell you this. Data sets you free. The right metrics will allow you to see the future and make informed decisions instead of gut reactions. So the key metrics I like to track are production pace for each trade, percent plan complete, roadblock removal average, RFI and submittal response times, and some cash flow indicators. So these will give you a broad leading indicators for how well you're planning, how well and how fast you're identifying and removing constraints, how well information is coming back to you, how timely, and the actual pace that you're moving. You can tell if you are moving at the right pace on the job. So with a dashboard like that set up, you can really step back and see if these leading indicators are going to become problems, and you can predict the outcomes 30 to 60 days in advance. And this is a way that you can really stand out as a leader. Okay, with a system like that, there are, of course, common concerns. Okay, so I want to address those. So some implementation challenges, common objections. Number 1 I hear all the time is, I don't have time for this level of planning. Come on. This is exactly backwards. This system gives you time back. That's what it does. Yeah, it might take some time up front, but you're going to multiply your time in the future. The clients and project managers and colleagues that I work with, they typically are recovering 15 to 20 hours per week within 30 days because they no longer constantly firefighting. They're anticipating. They're ahead of it. They're 3 steps ahead. Okay, number 2, my company won't support this level of process. You don't need company support to permission to be excellent. This is about operational excellence. Okay, when your project consistently outperforms, leadership will notice. I've seen this. I've done this within my own organization. I've seen this happen. Number 3, this seems like overkill for smaller projects. I also used to say the same thing, but this framework scales. A $2 million tenant improvement might need a simplified version of each step, but the process, the principles, and the sequence, they all remain the same. Excellence is excellence, and this will set you up for greater success when you do get onto a big project. You'll know exactly how to do this and how to scale this. It works regardless of project size. Okay? So look, you can continue managing projects the old way, like everyone else does. Stay reactive, fighting the same fires, hoping everything works out. That's industry standard, and I'm honestly tired of seeing it like that. That's why I'm making this video. Or you can systematically develop yourself into a PM that owners request by name, that teams respect without question, and the executives pull into conversations about companies' future direction. This has happened. This will happen. This framework is just the beginning. The complete transformation requires mastering 7 specific leadership archetypes, implementing AI project-powered workflows, and developing the strategic thinking that separates the administrative project witnesses that we often all see on projects from the strategic project leaders that are earning 200, 250K plus a year. So if you're serious about breaking through your career ceiling and becoming indispensable project leader to your company, your organization that they can't afford to lose, I want to talk with you. Get the link below to apply for a strategic guidance, a career guidance call. We'll create a customized 90-day roadmap showing you the highest leverage actions that will accelerate your career. Thank you. Like this video. and I'll see you on the next one.